Hello, I'm Christopher J. Lynch. I'm the author of the One-Eyed Jack series of crime novels about a professional blackmailer who operates in and around the city of Los Angeles. One-Eyed Jack actually started out as a short story, believe it or not. I had always wanted to write a story about a professional blackmailer taken from the point of view of the blackmailer. Typically in most crime novels and short stories, a blackmailer is a very minor character who just kind of pops in and out of the scene as needed. And I wanted to focus more on the blackmailer and his modus operandi and how does he live his life, how does he find his targets, even his business model. So I wrote the short story and then did what a lot of writers do. I fell in love with my own character. And when that happened, I decided I wanted to turn it into a novel. I turned the novel now into a series. I'm on book 3 of the series, and in the meantime, the original novel has been optioned through a production company associated with Lionsgate Films, and they're planning on making a feature film of One-Eyed Jack for release in 2016. Self-publishing can be very liberating because you have the freedom, you have all the creative control, but it's really not for everybody. If you're not a self-starter and you're not a business person and you aren't the kind of person that's going to get out there and hustle, you probably are not going to sell very many books. So it's all on you as a self-published author. That said, the traditional publishing industry is changing so much. Most traditionally published authors now are having to do their own promotion, their own marketing. Everything is still on them. So I didn't see any downside for me personally with going the self-published route. Self-publishing works well for me on several levels. Number one, I'm a hard worker, I'm a self-starter. So that's right off the bat, that's good. The other part of it is that I would have to tell people I'm a bit arrogant when it comes to my writing, and I want to retain that creative control. I don't use what's known as beta readers, I don't use critique groups, I don't use a story editor. I essentially write what I want to write, and if people love it and they buy it, that's great. If they don't love it, that's fine with me as well. I want to be an artist and I want to write what I want to write, how I want to write it. I use what's called a copy editor, which is basically for grammatical mistakes, spelling errors. There could be some continuity errors that you as a writer don't pick up on. And you miss so much as a writer. You can read the same page 10 times over and you won't see that one typo that a fresh set of eyes is going to pick up right off the bat. So I tell people you need to pay the pros, you need to have it edited. I don't care how clean you really think it is, it still needs more polishing. You attack it on a variety of fronts. Number one, of course, is social media, which is Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. That becomes a point of diminishing returns, though. You can only promote a book so long on Facebook. You actually need to get out there and you need to promote it in person. I do a lot of in-person events as an author. I speak to people. You go to a lot of conferences. You're always looking for reviewers to review your book. I also do a lot of freelance article writing, which actually helps me. It keeps my writing sharp. And also at the end of each of these articles, I'm listed and my books are listed in my website. So that's an added benefit to the articles. You need to have a website, you need to have business cards. You are a business and your number one job after you've written the book is sales. I've actually gotten online sales through doing in-person events, even though the people weren't even there. They may have heard it from a friend or somebody took my picture with them, put it up on Facebook, and talked about the book, and the next thing you know, I've sold books online. I always knew that I wanted long-term to see Jack become either a movie or a television show, and so I decided to make a video trailer with the dual purpose of selling books, which it has, and also to use it as a vehicle to hopefully get some interest from a production company, a director, even an actor who might have seen it and thought it was a really great role. And so I made the trailer, and it's been a completely worthwhile experience for me, and it was a lot of fun to do. I starred in it, I wrote it, directed it, starred in it, and had a lot of fun, learned a lot along the way.
What was the biggest challenge of making the trailer?
I didn't realize how much there is involved behind the scenes when it comes to making something like my trailer, which is only about 2 minutes long. I had to find a location, I had to pay for the location, I had to get $1 million worth of liability insurance, I had to audition actors. It was, for 2 minutes, it was just a lot more work than you could ever imagine. People must think this just happens like magic, but it doesn't. There's a lot of work that's behind it, but it was a lot of fun too. I really, really enjoyed the experience. But don't go the traditional route of most video trailers for books, or more or less like a slideshow with a voiceover. If you have a vision in your mind of what, if you wanted to see your book becoming a movie or a TV series, what is that vision that you have, and take that vision and make it into your video trailer. Become the scene that you want to see.
When did you know that there's more books than one about Jack?
At the very end of the very first book. Yeah, and I didn't plan it that way. I had planned to only write what's known as a standalone novel, and at the end of the first book there was some unfinished business, and I thought, well, I just can't let Jack hanging here, so I started writing the second book, which picks up about 4 hours after the first book ends. What's next for Jack is he's just going to be continuing on in his adventures, and he always seems to kind of find something that pulls him in, if you will. And Jack has a girlfriend now who he's actually partnered up with. She's completely aware of what he does for a living, and they kind of work together. So that's going to be kind of fun to add a new dimension to Jack.